Hi, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and we're here to do a small film session. Just to warn you, this is a pretty long video with a small film session in the middle of it. No clickbait. We're here to talk about how the Washington Commanders secured the best rookie cornerback in the entire NFL. We're going to take a look at his tape from what he did versus the Eagles and prove to you why, with stats as well, he is the best rookie corner in the NFL. Washington Commanders found a second round still in that 2024 NFL draft. Underrated lockdown corner. And you already know this video was sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And before we dive into everything, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Of course, I will have you updated on everything. If you like film sessions like these, but you want all of the extra wordy stuff before and after, all around the film session out of it, make sure you go become a channel member, because I do film sessions that are exclusive only to them without all of the fluff around it. Purely just all 22 film watching there exclusively for channel members only. Go join the family if you haven't yet. And of course, I will keep y'all updated throughout this entire 9-day break we have leading up to the Cowboys game. Daily content, even some days multiple videos in the same day. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. Oh, and before we go any further, it is finally here, y'all. Y'all have been asking for it, and y'all got it. The Commanders Kings YouTube page is finally up and running. Make sure you pull up, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. We will be live streaming Tuesday night. And of course, make sure you go follow the other 3 Kings with that YouTube channel. My dog Rio Robinson, Louis T, Ed Oliver, and of course me. Make sure you follow and subscribe to us on every social media platform, but especially that YouTube channel that we just kicked off. Go become one of the first subscribers. It just started, so make sure you go jump in on that early. We will be live streaming Tuesday night. We'll also be hitting y'all with content throughout the week as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Now let's get to Mike Sainristil, who you see smiling right behind me along with Jaden Daniels. And this is not clickbait. Again, like I briefly mentioned before the intro video, we will get to this film session in a few minutes, but I just want to talk about how impressive Mike Sainristil was in that game versus the Eagles first, just for a brief few minutes. I want to talk about some of my notes that I had from that game, because some of the stuff will not even appear in the film session, so I just want to make sure you know how good he is before we actually look at how good he is. Just to warn y'all, out of the 20-30 minutes that this video will probably end up being, the film session may only be like 5 minutes of it in the middle. I want to make sure y'all know that ahead of time. The film session will be in the middle of the video. I'm gonna break down what I saw versus the Eagles and also give y'all some crazy stats, Pro Football Focus grades, and all of that type of stuff. Then it's the film session, and then after that, it's the national media raving about Mike Sainristil and how everybody else, even outside of the Commanders fan base, Commanders team, Commanders beat writers, feel about him. Again, no clickbait. If you want to see just pure film sessions without a bunch of talking before or after the actual all 22 breakdowns, go become a channel member for those exclusive film sessions where we watch film the entire video. The entire 30 minutes is pure film session, not like this video right here. Now, let's get my thoughts on Mike Sainristil versus the Eagles, man. And Mike Sainristil did a lot of things very well against the Eagles, dog. Patience, route mirroring. I mean, sometimes it looked like he knew the route as well as the receiver did. Man coverage, not falling for double moves, zone coverage, pass breakups, not making contact with the receiver until the absolute right time. Like the very millisecond that he's actually allowed to make contact is when he was doing it. Getting his head turned around in coverage. How about that? Especially in the end zone. I've been begging for Commanders corners to do that for years so that the refs will not throw a flag since he's actually making a play on the ball. Plus, when you can see the ball, you of course have a better shot at attacking the ball correctly as well. And that also not only just shows nuance in Mike Sainristil, or even as early as he is into his rookie season, but also confidence to know I don't even need to look at the receiver. I know my body. I know everything I did leading up to this point. I'm in the right position. Now it's time for me to look for the ball. That's big time for any corner, but especially a rookie. But the refs really tried to sell him at a certain point in that game. Like, what was that illegal contact call they made on Mike Sanverstill, dog? Like, I'm sorry. I was unaware that Mike Sanverstill was supposed to dap up the receiver, politely hug him, and then escort him to the end zone for a wide open touchdown. I was completely unaware that that was somewhere in the NFL rulebook. But either way, the reason I'm bringing this up, because then a couple of plays later, Mike Sanverstill had a ball don't lie moment with perfect coverage to force an incompletion on a touchdown throw attempt to Devonta Smith. He got his head turned around and everything and actually deflected the ball himself. If Mike Sanverstill doesn't make that play, that's an easy touchdown for Devonta Smith. Mike Sanverstill had to literally follow him the whole way, and he didn't fall for the double move in the first place. And we're going to see that in the film session as well. Got his head turned around and then batted the ball down. Elite stuff. Then Mike Sanverstill did a great job of setting the edge twice on that first drive of the third quarter for the Eagles. He set the edge twice. They ran his way, which was probably by design. Like, he's the smaller corner. Let's go attack him. He did a pretty good job of setting the edge on the receiver. And even one of those plays, he was able to get in on the tackle. But the other one, he set the edge, and I think Frankie Louvu was able to make the tackle because Mike Sanverstill didn't allow the ball carrier to get outside of him and hit that sideline and start running up the field for more yards. And then a couple of plays after that, he locked up A.J. Brown to stop yet another touchdown throw attempt from Jalen Hurts. He had 2 touchdown saving coverage plays in one game, and the fact that it was against both of the receivers' best 2 receivers, not just one of them, both of them, and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. So to me, that tells us that he can cover the bigger, stronger, freakishly athletic, aggressive guys, and also the smaller, quicker, shiftier, like slot Devonta Smith type of guys as well. So Mike Sanverstill has turned into a guy that can cover the other team's best receiver no matter what type of receiver he is, and that's very important because Benjamin St-Juste, I mean, the one when in doubt, it's like, you know, he does a better job against bigger, taller receivers that aren't as quick and aren't as fast. Typically, even though he got beat by Mike Williams for a touchdown, which was just insane. That was the complete opposite of what I just told you. But like, when in doubt, the reason Benjamin St-Juste is still on this roster is because of his ability to, at the very least, do a decent job some of the times against the bigger guys. But when it comes to smaller, shiftier guys, Benjamin St-Juste is automatic food. My point is, Mike Sanverstill is not that way. He doesn't have a particular receiver that we have to match him up against for him to find success, especially consistent success. From what I'm seeing, Mike Sanverstill can be matched up against any receiver, any type of receiver, and find success. I mean, because even for like a really tall, big jump ball receiver, like a Mike Evans type of guy, we saw Mike Sanverstill win those jump ball situations against tight ends a lot in his Michigan tape when you watch it. Like Cade Stover against Ohio State, he had like a big time pass breakup where he like leaned backwards and batted the ball down against him in college last year. But the craziest part about it is Mike Sanverstill is growing up right before our eyes and turning into a true #1 outside corner, I would say. But we still have Marshawn Lattimore that's going to be added to the defense. So we will go from not a single #1 outside corner to 2 of them in just a matter of a few weeks. Crazy. And I said this before we even traded for Marshawn Lattimore. I said weeks ago, the best way for us to improve our coverage problems that we have been having is, 1, trade for an elite edge rusher. I felt like that was the #1 way. #2, trade for an elite corner. And then number 3, Mike Sanverstill develops into a great corner way sooner than expected when we first drafted him. Well, it looks like we achieved 2 of the 3. And then even edge rusher wise, Dante Fowler has stepped up big time. He didn't necessarily have a great game against the Eagles, but overall, he's been having a great season. So I'm really excited about the future of this defense. I mean, they dominated a top 10, arguably top 5 offense in the Eagles for 3.5 quarters until they got tired because our offense couldn't stay on the field. We went into like the early 4th quarter with them already having to be on the field for almost 30 minutes of game time. At a certain point, even the 2000 Ravens 85 Bears defense is gonna break. It's gonna collapse. When you're tired, you can't defend. And Mike Williams is only getting better. And then you add Marshawn Lattimore to the mix. I can't believe I'm saying this, but right now our defense is looking pretty dominant. The offense is the one that needs to figure some stuff out and catch up. But I also want to point out the fact that Mike Sanverstill had the highest graded game of his career against the Eagles, finishing with a 89 overall grade, along with a 90 coverage grade, an A. I mean, he's been absolutely insane as an outside corner for us, man. Remember, he started as a slot corner, and then they learned over time that, hey, maybe this guy actually is better at outside corner. We're going to talk about that with the second half of the video. But, again, he earned a 90 coverage grade versus the Eagles. He held A.J. Brown to just 2 catches for 31 yards on 3 targets, and he also held Devonta Smith and Jahan Dotson for a combined 0 catches on 2 targets, both of them pass breakups. I mean, just elite stuff, dog. And so now he has a 68 overall grade, even with some bad performances earlier in the season, like a 40 grade week 1 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, holding his grade back. He also had a 57 grade versus the New York Giants. Week 2, this holding his grade back. Week 4 against the Cardinals, he had a 56.5. Without those ugly games early on in the season that's holding his grade back, he would have an even higher grade. But just say, even taking it for face value, with that 68 overall grade that he has right now, he's ranked 41st out of all corners in the entire NFL in Pro Football Focus grade. That is elite stuff, man. Elite. And cool enough, Marshon Lattimore's graded 35th. So now we're going from not having a single corner in the top 50 to now 2 of them in the top 41. Once Marshon Lattimore eventually gets right. But below Mike Sainristil, you have Deommodore Lenoir from the 49ers, Kool-Aid McKinstry of the Saints, Mike Jackson and Jonathan Jones, Derek Stingley, Kyler Jordan, AJ Terrell. That's a Westlake great right there. Shouts out to AJ Terrell, even though he plays for them sorry Falcons over there. But he is graded better, even with all of the rookie ugly start that he had to the season. Without that, he would be even higher on this list. He would easily be top 30 if you would have just erased some of the rookie mistakes that he was making the first couple of weeks, which are expected of a rookie. This is him being compared to veterans that have been in the NFL doing this for a very long time, for several years. And again, even then, he's ranked and graded better than AJ Terrell this year already, even with those blemishes early on into his career. And again, just to point it out, against the Eagles specifically, 89 defense grade overall with a 90 coverage grade. Second in defense grade was Frankie Louvu, almost an entire 20 points away with a 70.3. Michael Davis with a 67.3 third. Benjamin St. Juste fourth with a 66.2. Bobby Wagner fifth with a 64.8. Then FL Bottle with a 63.8, and then after that, that's it for the 60s. So you have Mike Sainristil at an 89, that close to a 90, and then Frankie Louvu's the only 70, barely at a 70.3. Everybody else is 60 and below. We have a lot of reds, like Deron Payne was a 39.1 red. Dante Fowler, as great as he's been, 33.7 red. Fadarian Mathis and even Johnny Newton having good seasons, all red as well. Dorrance Armstrong, red as well. Basically, my point is Mike Sainristil, according to Pro Football Focus, carried this entire defense against the Eagles, and he was basically the main reason people feel like that game was even a game up to the point that it was. Also, just to let you know, Mike Sainristil so far this season as a rookie, 8 passes defensed, 1 interception, and 55 combined tackles. Remember, he had that interception against the Ravens where Mark Andrews dropped the pass. Great job being an opportunist by Mike Sainristil right there. But hey, I think it's about time to start talking about, and you could argue it should have been time to start talking about Mike Sainristil being a strong candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I would definitely argue that. And before we dive into the all-22 tape from Mike Sainristil locking up the Eagles receivers 2 nights ago, this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS for sure. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry. I know y'all want y'all money fast because I know I do. And right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. That's YOUTUBE150. They also have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process as well. And at that point, it's like, why not? Now let's go take a look at some of the bets we could get into directly through their website. And as you can see, by me having his jersey on, by having him in the background smiling and laughing with the man of the hour, Mike Sainristil, I still clearly believe in Jayden Daniels. Right now, if you're looking at regular season MVP, the odds have gone down though, which means that's more money for you. If you still want to make this bet, Jayden Daniels has plus 2,800 odds. The only people even favored higher than him for MVP right now are Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, who I feel like Jayden Daniels has been still having a better season. I feel like you could argue Jayden Daniels had a better game than Jalen Hurts just did, even though Jalen Hurts won, but it is what it is. A lot of people say winning is a quarterback stat. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes. So Jayden Daniels is no longer like in the top 5, top 3 of the MVP odds. He is now sunken after 2 arguably bad back-to-back games from him. So if you still believe that Jayden Daniels can turn this around, especially especially, I mean, we just went through a slump of going against 2 top 3 defenses in the NFL according to points allowed per game. So it's no surprise that Jaden Daniels struggled, even though I didn't expect him to look as bad as he did against the Eagles. But I believe injuries have a lot to do with that. But that's a whole nother video discussion. My point is, though, if you believe that those last 2 weeks against 2 top 3 defenses are not indicative of how great Jaden Daniels will be, not only for just the rest of the season, but the rest of his career just in general, but specifically this season, and you still feel like he has a chance to come back and explode against the Cowboys, who are pretty much tanking, the Saints, the Titans, all of these teams that are pretty much fighting for higher draft picks. If you think Jaden Daniels can explode against them, bounce back and go crazy and potentially end up winning this MVP race, hey man, you can make some really good money, because if you wanted to put $100 on this, you can end up winning $2,800. That's $2,800 just by putting down $100 today. By the end of the season, if Jaden Daniels ends up winning MVP, you would end up winning $2,800. But y'all already know me, man. I'm gonna keep emphasizing, please make sure y'all gamble responsibly. That's always gonna be the message. I'm gonna scream that. Please gamble responsibly. But before we move on back to this video, again, I want to remind you, right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUBE150, and please gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to this video. And now let's take a look at the tape versus the Eagles from 2 nights ago, and Mike Sanders still balled out. We're going to see that, but also shouts out to Doug Farrar, who provided this all-22 tape that we're taking a look at through Twitter. And with the tweet, he said, Mike Sanders still is here to clown everyone who thought he was just a slot defender, and the dude has receipts. And just to let you know, after this film session, when we're done, which is going to probably take like a few minutes, maybe like 5 or so, after that, the rest of this video is about going through those receipts and seeing who called them, if anybody ever called him an outside corner. Even all of the people that claimed that he would be one of the best slot corners in the entire NFL sooner rather than later, you need to notice that nobody thought that he would be an outside corner. We're going to take a look at all of those receipts as we go through after the film session. But let's get to this film session first. Again, shouts out to Doug Farrar for this. As you can see, this is the first quarter, 2 minutes and 55 seconds left. This is 3rd and 4. This is a must-have it, money down for the defense right here. Mike Sanders still at the top of your screen in man-on-man coverage right here. It's a little bit like an off man, I think, a little bit of off man, but I mean, it works. Or maybe it's zone coverage. Either way, all I know is that boy Mike Sanders still locked this receiver up. Look at him watching the receiver, looking at the quarterback's eye. So that's why I'm assuming this is some type of zone coverage, because everybody's looking at the quarterback except for, I guess, this linebacker that's moving right now. But Mike Sanders still's looking at Jalen Hurts' eyes right now, and then comes up and makes a play on the ball at the perfect time. Pass breakup, lock up, when you needed it most on 3rd down. Absolutely amazing play right there. We're going to see it from a different angle. You're not going to see it until the last second, but when you need to see it, you'll see it, and that's all that matters. But the other angle was better, of course, because you see when he absolutely reacts to the route that the receiver's running. But Jahan Dotson had no chance right here. Oh, my Lord. Lock up Jahan Dotson right there. Just absolute lock up, man. Pass breakup and everything. Now we're talking about second quarter. 0 minutes, 53 seconds left in that quarter, 2nd and 8. So not necessarily a money down, but we want to make sure that these Eagles do not get any more yardage, because we got to remember, you got to play the Eagles differently than you play other teams, because with that tush push, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 is pretty much, you can assume, an automatic first down. So in a 2nd and 8, you cannot let them get to like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 or something like that, because then that 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4 could easily turn into 4th and 1. And again, like I already said, that's an automatic first down. That is a different offense. You have to play against them differently than other teams. A lot of other teams, 2nd and 8 is like, okay, cool, we just stop them right here for like maybe a 3-4 yard gain. We're good to go, because we can step up and stop them on 4th down. Even if it's 4th and 1, they'll more than likely kick it, depending on the situation. They'll take the field goal. Not the Eagles with how automatic that tush push is. Either way though, 2nd and 8, my whole reason of explaining that was the fact that this may not necessarily be a money down as in 3rd down, but 2nd and 8 is very important against an Eagles offense, which is not very typical. This is zone coverage. He's responsible. This looks like cover 3 to me. He's responsible for Devonta Smith. He hits him with a double move, and that's a really good double move from Devonta Smith. But how about trying better coverage by Mike Sanders still? Elite stuff right there. That boy Devonta Smith tried to hit him with a nice little double move, and it did not work. Great patience, great footwork, great agility, great confidence right there. Again, man, especially after the double move as well. To have the confidence after a double move like that, to know that you still have them locked up, you're still engaged with them. This is after the double move. To have the confidence to know, oh, first of all, the nuance and the spatial awareness to know that there's not too much space back there, so he can only run but so far. As long as I'm with him as I'm backpedaling or moving backwards, I have the chance to turn my head around and make a play on this ball, which he does, and he perfectly times it, because if not, that's a catch by Devonta Smith. A lot of other corners in the NFL, especially corners on our team, get mossed in that situation. Mike Sainristil said not here. I just got to take it back and look at it one more time, because this is just poetry, bro. First of all, it's zone coverage. They tried to confuse things right here, because at first Mike Sainristil was paying attention to AJ Brown. AJ Brown moves inside of Devonta Smith at the last second, so Mike Sainristil has to acknowledge, he has to pay attention to AJ Brown at least for a second here. He realizes, okay, I'm in cover 3. I'm responsible for whoever comes outside. So now my new assignment is Devonta Smith. I mean, it didn't take that long for him to realize it, but I'm happy that he did. Double move while looking dead at him and realize, oh, wait a minute. Nope, he's actually still going forward. And then the time and the high point this ball right here. He did an even better job than Devonta Smith did. Great pass breakup. Jalen Hurts had a bad game, but that was a good throw. I mean, most corners get mossed right there for a touchdown, so I don't blame Jalen Hurts for that one at all. And then moving on, again, we just had to see that one more time. I mean, that's just perfection. I mean, Quan Martin, I guess, was there to help a little bit, but we didn't need him. Mike Sainristil had Devonta Smith on the island right there. Now we have third quarter, still up 10-3, money down, 3rd and 6, 6 minutes left in that third quarter. Money down, 3rd and 6 again. I really want to remind you, Mike Sainristil out here on an island. Because if anything, I mean, if this is man coverage, this is cover 1. If it's zone coverage, maybe it's cover 3, but still, then no matter the situation, Mike Sainristil is basically on an island. If it were cover 2, then maybe, yeah, you have a safety leaning his way. Right now, I believe this is Quan Martin on an absolute island right here. So this is just Mike Sainristil on an island right now. This is the same, and that's a different, no, that's AJ Brown with him right there. So instead of Devonta Smith, this is the AJ Brown one. He tries to hit him with a double move as well, get Mike Sainristil to play up. Look at the patience, didn't budge at all, just looking dead at him. Like, this is my responsibility right here. I'm not worried about any double teams. I know what he's trying to do. I know what the Eagles are trying to do. I'm good. And then he plays it. He makes sure he gets in front of them, and he's playing the ball the entire time so that the refs cannot flag this. Because if he's not looking up at the ball, as of this moment, the refs would normally throw a flag right here, because he is impeding AJ Brown's process. But at the same time, since he's playing the ball, it's technically a 50-50 opportunity, equal opportunity for both of them to make a play on the ball. Mike Sainristil just happens to be slowing down AJ Brown while doing so. That is an elite play right there, pure lockup, another touchdown reception prevented. Now, this one wasn't as good of a throw from Jalen Hurts, but maybe if Mike Sainristil doesn't slow down AJ Brown, he's able to catch it. And AJ Brown looks so frustrated out of the play, which adds just another layer of just beauty to it. Then we're already down 10-12. So at this point, like, we need this. Fourth quarter, 6 minutes left, 2nd and 9. What does our boy Mike Sainristil do here? You have Mike Sainristil up here on an island once again, because even though we do have a safety back there, he's leaning more this way than that way, and we have more help underneath this way. But it is what it is. Mike Sainristil on an island underneath. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. AJ Brown lockup. So you thought, okay, you kept doing double moves and trying to go deep. So maybe, you know, strategically, rock, paper, scissors. Okay, when we did double moves, he didn't bite on it. We would try to do a double move and then go deep. He was waiting for his deep. How about instead of doing a double move, how about we actually make this the move that we make? How about we actually do go underneath? We threaten deep, but actually go underneath to flip what we've been doing so far against them this game. And somehow, zone coverage, watching the quarterback, still recognized it. It made a great play on the ball, pass breakup. That would have definitely have been caught. Oh no, that was actually, I believe that was still caught, but still an elite coverage play right there. I still love that from Jahan Dotson right there, because that is one of the only 2 receptions that AJ Brown had, and he really had to earn that one. That still looks like lockup corner to me right there, at least for what a lockup corner can be at this current climate in the NFL, where like it's offense, offense, offense. So shouts out to Mike Sainristil for doing what again, it's a reception, but it's for minimal damage. And then the way that he hit AJ Brown to kind of ragdoll him a little bit, made him look like he was the smaller guy. I love it. Great play right there. Again, great play recognition to not fall for any tricks, reading the quarterback's eyes, and then having the anticipation, the acceleration, the agility to make a play on that, the explosion to make a play on that. Elite athleticism, man. Mike Sainristil is the truth, y'all. But again, we have receipts. Remember, he was drafted to be a slot corner, pure slot corner, with very little outside corner consideration. I mean, honestly, how could you even blame the Commanders' defensive staff for assuming that? First of all, he primarily played slot corner in college. First of all, that's off the bat. And that was after he finally switched to cornerback at all, to the defensive side of the ball at all, after being a wide receiver for his first couple of years at Michigan. And then also, remember, if you're looking at his relative athletic score right here, the guy's 5'9", 180 pounds. What outside corners can succeed with those measurables, bro? Of course, the explosion was elite. You saw that in a couple of those plays, especially that most recent play I showed you. The speed was elite. The agility was good, even though his shuttle time was elite and great, whichever way you want to call it. Green out of the way. But at the same time, 5'9", 180 pounds. How can you blame the Commander staff or any of these national analysts that we're about to bring up in these receipts? Because even before and during and after the draft, a lot of NFL and draft experts were saying that Mike Sainristil would be an elite slot corner specifically. Great, good, elite, whatever tag they added to it, they kept emphasizing slot corner specifically. No mention of outside corner. Like Ryan Fowler, shouts out to him. He said Mike Sainristil is pound for pound one of my favorite players in the entire draft class. An absolute alpha at corner that takes each rep personal. Immediate upgrade to the cornerback room and a hell of a ball player for Washington. Excellent start for general manager Adam Peters. And then Mike Sainristil was Dane Brugler's 43rd overall prospect. We got him at 50, so Dane Brugler felt like that was at least somewhat of a steal. He said Sainristil obviously has size limitations that will remove him from a lot of teams' draft boards, but other teams will be more than happy to bet on his outstanding toughness, instincts, and ball skills. He will compete for an immediate starting reps as a rookie nickel. Then you have Eric Edholm of NFL Network. He said one day Sainristil will be your favorite nickelback's favorite nickelback. Again, elite praise, but we're emphasizing slot corner right here. Scouts love the guy in spite of his smaller, leaner frame and despite switching over from receiver only just a couple of years ago. His football instincts are extremely sound and his intangibles are off the charts. This is a terrific pick for a franchise bent on completely remaking the football culture in Washington. Then you have Third Down Thursdays. They do a lot of draft breakdowns, do a whole lot of draft articles and profiles on guys. And his rookie projection for him was starting slot defender as a rookie. But again, starting elite compliment, but emphasis on specifically saying and noting slot defender. He said third year projection, Pro Bowl, all pro caliber, slot defender. Again, elite compliment, but still slot defender specifically. He also said that his final grade was an 86.75 out of 100, which is a late first round talent. And for the Commanders to get him in the middle of the second round, 50th overall, is an elite steal of the draft already right there. And then in that entire breakdown, they basically said that he's like a Brian Branch of this draft and all kinds of things like that. First round caliber talent. He'll be an instant impact guy, Swiss Army knife, fearless tackler, good coverage ability. Like, he uses all of those tag words. If you want to go read that, you can go check out the article, because it's like a full essay breakdown with example plays, all 22 stuff. And like, I mean, he even breaks it down to the point where he's like man coverage. He gives a rating out of 15 on that. Zone coverage, a rating on that. Instincts, then ball skills, repressed physicality, long speed. And out of everything has like great has great numbers on it. Like, let's go back. We could do it right now. Man coverage, 11 out of 15. Zone coverage, 14.5 out of 15. Nearly perfect. Instincts, 9.25 out of 10. Ball skills, perfect. 10 out of 10. Long speed, 8.5 out of 10. Tackling and run support, 9.75 out of 10. Nearly perfect. Again, you saw that. Well, I spoke on it earlier about the times he set the edge and allowed the Commanders defense to rally. 9 out of 10 athleticism, 5 out of 5 change of direction. But he said length, 3 out of 5. And he also said press and physicality, 6.75 out of 10. Those are all the worst grades that he gave to any of Mike Sainristil's traits. And all of those traits, you typically need those to be a successful outside corner. So, I mean, it's just like, who really expected this? Josh Norris said all the way back on April 17th, 1 week before the draft even happened, that he felt like Mike Sainristil could make a lot of sense for the Panthers at 33 overall, or even 39. And again, for the Commanders to even get him at 50 was insane. And Joe Klatt said, quote, best defender on the best defense in college football. He's going to turn into one of those players that every quarterback is going to have nightmares about because of his instincts and his ability to make plays on the ball. Ian Cummings, after we drafted Mike Sainristil, he tweeted, the Washington Commanders got two of my favorite defensive prospects so far on day 2. Johnny Newton goes without saying, but Mike Sainristil is a dude. Day 1 impact starter in the slot, route intelligence, explosiveness, support, blitz utility, and playmaking instincts, home run selection. But again, even with all of those compliments, slot corner was said. Brian Baldinger did a whole film session of his Michigan tape, and he added, might be the very best nickelback in this draft, built for that position specifically, Brian Baldinger said. Again, high compliments, but specifically talking slot corner again. Then you have at Draft Analyst 365 on Twitter, and Football Scout 365, all they do is draft. That's all. They just focus on draft stuff and projections to the NFL level, which is some of my favorite content to even do on my own channel. They said the Washington Commanders are getting a high IQ, athletic nickel corner in Mike Sainristil, an absolute steal of a pick at 50th overall, and then also went on to tweet that he has elite ball skills, route recognition, and high IQ. But again, even with all of those compliments, slot corner emphasized with the tweets. Then Mike Renner said himself, leading up to the draft, that my dog, Georgia dog, Kamari Lassiter, and then our own Commanders, Mike Sainristil, are both the only 2 true day 1 starting slot corners in the draft. That's how he wanted to say it. Again, elite compliment, slot corner tag still placed on him. Then you had Dane Brugler. Even after the draft, he said Mike Sainristil is one of my favorite players in the entire draft. At the end of the day, give me good football players, and Sainristil is one of the best football players in the entire draft. That's high praise right there. But again, we already spoke earlier about him emphasizing he's talking about as far as being a slot corner. Nick Saban even said, though, this guy may be pound for pound the best football player in the entire draft. So that's a steal right there with getting them 50th overall. Then Chris Sims said, hail to the Commanders, 3 for 3, unreal quarterback with and now 2 great defensive players in round 2. Mike Sainristil is one of the best secondary players and one of the best players in the entire draft. Don't be surprised if he's the best nickel in the NFL in 2 years. Elite compliment. Again, nickel corner. But last but not least, and most importantly, after the Commanders drafted Mike Sainristil, Skip Bayless went straight to Twitter to rant. And he said, he tweeted, now our historical rival Washington took my favorite defensive back in this entire draft. Mike Sainristil, who's in the middle of play after play after play for championship Michigan. Jerry, the NFC East just keeps getting better and better while you shrug and wait and reach. And then now, you know, hindsight 2020, looking back at the draft and seeing like where the Cowboys are right now, Skip Bayless definitely had a good reason to worry. But now moving on to the last part of this video, I just want to, before we even get there, notice how everybody that even mentioned cornerback at all made sure they emphasized slot corner or nickelback specifically. But again, now to dive further into the love from the national media on Mike Sainristil after we drafted him, with the grades that we got from a lot of sports networks for drafting Sainristil in the second round. You had CBS Sports, they gave us a B+. They said pesky nickel corner with flexibility, instincts, and a high motor. Can beat some blockers en route to the football. Reasonable twitch and plus zone awareness. Exactly the type of playmaker the Commanders need. Tackling good, not amazing. Maybe a touch early. So they felt like even 50 may have been a little too early, but they still gave us a B+ there. Then you have Pro Football Focus. They gave grades like elite, great, good, average, bad, and things like that. For Mike Sainristil, they said elite. They said the Commanders continue to draft good football players. Sainristil brings a fierce mentality to the team and provides positional versatility. He secured a career-best 6 interceptions in 2023, second among cornerbacks, and his 20.3 Pro Football Focus overall grade since 2022 ranked 4th among Big Ten cornerbacks. Sainristil has a great reaction speed and is fearless in run defense. Then Yahoo Sports gave us an A. They said, shout out to the 2024 All Juice team. The Commanders grabbed a stud prospect to play in the slot for them, specifically in the slot, even with the compliments, slot. Sanford still is a competitive force who's not afraid to come downhill and hit people in the mouth. He's got pretty solid chops and man coverage too. Nice pickup. Gave us an A grade for that one. Then sportingnews.com gave us an A as well. The Commanders needed to replace Kendall Fuller and do so well with an aggressive playmaker who plays bigger than his size. So maybe they were on to something about, well, he's small. Maybe there's something there with outside corner. Replace Kendall Fuller, who was an outside corner for the past couple of years for us. He originally started in the slot, but he moved to the outside, and then also saying that he could play bigger than he actually was. And then also you have ESPN. And they had a lot of different analysts, and they asked everybody, who was your favorite pick of the entire draft? Well, Bowen said straight up, cornerback Mike Sanford to the Washington Commanders at number 50. A nickel corner, again, specifically, with a playmaking mentality. Sanford was one of my favorite defensive backs to study. He led Michigan's defense last season with 6 interceptions and 7 pass breakups. Look for him to play a disruptive role as a rookie in Dan Quinn's defensive scheme. And I wanted to provide those to y'all, especially those grades specifically, to remind y'all that a lot of people expected that he would be great. That hasn't been the doubt, but the point was he would be great at some point later on. Almost nobody, most people did not expect for him to, first of all, be great this soon, just right off the bat, 11 games into his rookie season, and especially to be this good at outside corner, specifically at 5'9", 180 pounds instead of slot corner, especially after how Emmanuel Forbes worked out here in his rookie season and with him being a corner that was underweight and things like that. So a lot of us expected Sanford to be really good, but again, number one, not this soon, and number two, not at outside corner against the best wide receivers in the world. That was just not, I personally didn't see that. I can admit that. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stick on that like button, stick on the subscription button, stick on the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Please make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. Do not leave this video without leaving a like. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you. I salute you. Of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Do you feel like Mike Sanford was a huge steal for the Washington Commanders in that draft? Do you feel like he's already the best rookie corner? Even though Quinion Mitchell looked really good against us when we just played the Eagles, do you feel like Mike Sanford is even better? Do you feel like he's already one of the better outside corners in the entire NFL? How optimistic are you about this defense once we add Marshawn Lattimore along with already a number one corner I would consider, and Mike Sanford still out there as well? So now we're going to go from 0 number one corners to 2 all of a sudden. Let me know how you feel about that. Again, let me know if you agree or disagree. Even if you disagree with any of my points, please let me know why. Really appreciate y'all. I'm going to keep hitting y'all with more videos daily leading up. I mean, we have a 9-day break. You already see Jaden Daniels over there at the club and at the harbor with Wale and stuff chilling. They're taking some time to recover and have a little bit of fun, but I promise you StreetScores is not taking a day off. And of course, remember to go subscribe to that Commanders Kings YouTube channel. Please go do that. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.